Have you ever wondered if there's like a hidden mechanism inside your own mind? A kind of gatekeeper that sorts and labels everything you see before you even get a chance to think about it. A little machine that actually shapes your reality, your emotions, your judgments. Without your permission? Well, there is. And in this explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain on this mental gatekeeper and figure out exactly how it works. And to do that, we have to start with a pretty surprising question.
Right. To understand this gatekeeper, we first have to ask, how does something like brainwashing actually function? And I'm not talking about science fiction here. I'm talking about a real psychological process, a way to deform how a person thinks. And as you're about to see, it's not nearly as mysterious as it sounds.
This example from the source material really just cuts right to the chase. This constant, relentless repetition of a simple idea, it's designed to do one thing, and one thing only: create an automatic mental link. It's all about connecting an image with a prepackaged judgment, so that you don't think, you just react.
And this is the crucial part, this process isn't some vague, spooky magic. It's a targeted attack. It's the hijacking of a very specific piece of our psychological anatomy, one that isn't just an abstract idea, but is physically part of our brain, a part of our mind that, honestly, most of us don't even know is there. So let's meet the star of our show, the cognitive power. The easiest way to think about it is as your mind's internal sorting machine. It's the gatekeeper that stands between all the raw data your senses are sucking in and your higher, rational intellect. It's the first line of processing for every concrete, individual thing you experience.
So here's the more technical definition. The cognitive power is a material faculty, which is a fancy way of saying it physically operates in the brain, and it deals with particular things. So it's not thinking about dogness in general. It's looking at this specific dog right in front of you. It's the essential bridge that connects what you see, hear, and touch to what you actually understand.
To really get it, picture an information assembly line. Okay, so first, your 5 senses gather all the raw data. Then, that data gets unified by something called the common sense power into one single coherent mental image, sometimes called a phantasm, which gets stored in your imagination. And only then, before your intellect even gets a peek, the cognitive power steps in to do its job.
And what is that job? Well, it's got 3 main parts. First up, association. It rummages through your memory to connect the image you're seeing now with past experiences. Hey, that face looks like my mom. Second, and this is absolutely critical, assessment. It makes a quick and dirty judgment. Is this good for me or bad for me? Is it a source of pleasure or pain? And third, preparation. It organizes all that data so that your intellect can later come along and grasp a universal concept from it.
And this slide just brilliantly shows how powerful that assessment function is. The source uses this incredible example. The sensory input, the actual image of your spouse, is the exact same in both cases. But the cognitive power pulls from totally different memories. Early in the marriage, it links the image to positive memories, and you get the perspective, my wonderful spouse. But years later, after a bunch of conflict, it might link that exact same image to negative memories, creating a completely different perspective. The old battle axe. Same data, wildly different perception. And here's the kicker. That perspective, that good or bad label, it gets slapped right onto the image in your imagination. And this is not a neutral filing system. That label is what automatically triggers your emotional response. The wonderful spouse perspective makes you feel delight, while the battle axe perspective moves you straight to anger or frustration. And all of this happens before you've had a single rational thought. It's automatic.
Okay, so now that we understand how this amazing machine works, we can finally see how it gets hijacked. And this brings us right back to our original question about brainwashing. Because this powerful automatic sorting machine, well, it has a key vulnerability. And there it is. The cognitive power is one of the most habituatable faculties we have. Because it's a physical power that works by making connections, it can be trained through sheer repetition to form specific habits. It learns. And of course, anything that can be trained can be mistrained.
So here's the blueprint manipulators use. Step 1, constant repetition. Just bombard the senses with the same image, the same phrase, over and over and over. Step 2, prepackage that image with a strong emotional charge. Think of the scary music in a news report, or the loaded language used to describe a person. And the result? A new habit forms. The cognitive power is trained through all that emotional packaging to automatically make the good or bad assessment they want you to make, triggering the exact emotional response they want, on cue.
This quote from the source material just nails it. The goal is to do the assessment for you, by controlling the associations, by wrapping an image in fear or anger. They prepackage the whole perspective. See, they aren't trying to win an intellectual argument with you. They're trying to provoke a specific automatic emotional reaction.
And the consequences of this are, well, pretty severe. Your perspectives become flawed, but they feel completely automatic and natural. Your emotions get triggered like a puppet on a string. And because those emotions, fear, anger, whatever, are so strong, they end up clouding your intellect's ability to make a clear, objective judgment. Your thinking gets dragged to extremes, and it becomes incredibly difficult to just step back and see reality for what it is.
But it is not a hopeless situation, and this is the empowering part. Because this faculty can be trained, it means we can be the ones to train it. We can actually take back the controls.
This is such a crucial point. The very thing that makes the cognitive power vulnerable, the fact that it's physical and it learns through habit, is also the very thing that makes it fixable. A bad habit that has been learned can be unlearned. It just takes a conscious, willed effort on our part to do it.
So how do we actually do it? The source gives us a really clear two-step process. First, negation. When that automatic, disordered thought pops into your head, you have to use your will to actively say no. Just stop it in its tracks. The second step is reformulation. You can't just leave a vacuum there. You have to consciously choose to look at that person or that situation from a new, better perspective. Maybe seeing a person not as a political symbol, but as a human being with dignity.
Now listen, this isn't a quick fix. You've probably spent years building these automatic reactions, so retraining your mind takes time and consistent effort. But over time, this active process of saying no and then reframing will literally break those old unhealthy habits and build new, stronger, and clearer ones. You're not just playing defense anymore. You're proactively building a more virtuous and resilient mind.
And that really leaves us with a final thought. This isn't just some abstract theory. It's a practical tool for becoming more self-aware. So the real question to walk away with is this: looking at the world around you and being honest with yourself. Which of your own automatic emotional reactions, which of your own prepackaged perspectives might be due for a conscious second look?